Good morning, everyone. How's everybody doing? Glad to see you here. Turn that on. Couple of quick announcements to tell you about. Number one is that there are only a couple more Men on the Word meetings before the end of the calendar year. We'll meet next week and the next week, and then of course the next week is Thanksgiving, and we're off until January. So just keep that in mind. And I sent out an email yesterday about Manos de Cristo. We got so much last week. Thank you. We're going to continue to collect donations through the end of our year, so through November the 20th. And then we'll see how it goes if we need to help them out next year, starting when we come back in January. But thank you so much. We got like 25 bags plus last week, which they were overwhelmed about, and there's tons out there this week. So thank you. Keep it up. I appreciate all that you've done. That's about it for announcements. I will send out something between now and next Thursday about our Christmas Fellowship barbecue, which is on December the 13th at the Skaggs Ranch. And I'll let you know, and your table leaders will let you know what you can do to help out to bring something to that. I'm wearing an unusual jersey today. It's one of the more famous NFL jerseys, the old creamsicle jerseys of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And I'm wearing it for two reasons. Number one is because I saw something yesterday, a headline about how Baker Mayfield, who of course is from Austin, was a quarterback at Lake Travis years ago. His contract, he's at Tampa Bay now, his contract is almost up, and there's some speculation that he may become the highest paid player in NFL history because he's doing so well for Tampa Bay right now that they're going to offer him so much money that he'll become the highest paid player in NFL history for his yearly average because of that. Tim, do you need some help? Okay. Other thing is didn't want to talk that much. I'm going to talk about baseball in a second, but I didn't want to talk that much about Toronto and the Dodgers. I know some people are upset that the Dodgers won again. What I wanted to do today, because I like to tell stories at the very beginning, is I want to tell you a story about the date. Today is November the 6th, which is an important date in Mike Barnes' history. And I'm going to tell you quickly about it. And I want to tell you about it mainly because it shows the power of God. It really does. It shows the power of God. It's 1990. It's election day. It's a Tuesday, November the 6th of 1990. And I'm told, and I'm told ahead of time, but I'm told that on November the 6th, the main sportscaster at KVU has the night off. The weekend sportscaster at KVU has the night off. I was the sports reporter, called me the number 3 guy at the time, and I'm told you get to go to College Station and be a news field producer for the Phil Graham campaign because he's having his campaign, party in College Station at a hotel there. And I was livid. Like, why do I have to do that? I hate news. I hate politics. I don't want to go. So I'd try everything I can to get out of it. I tell my boss, the news director, said, this is the biggest week in Texas football history. They're playing Houston this week. It's gigantic. Tuesdays when we get interviews, I can't leave the station until probably 2, maybe 3 o'clock. That's going to be too late. And she says, oh, that's okay. Just drive your own car. You'll be fine. You're kidding me. No, I don't want to do this. How come they get off and I have to work? This is terrible. But I get in my Jeep and I start driving to College Station, an hour and a half away, and I'm just talking to God the entire time, saying, why are you doing this to me? I don't understand. This makes no sense. All I have to do, all I'm going to do is sit on a phone all day. I'm going to sit on a stage with a cameraman and a reporter, a news reporter, and I'm going to be talking to the control room saying, yeah, you're going to go live in 5 minutes. Okay, yeah. This is ridiculous. Why am I doing this? I had no idea, and I was not happy. I was grumpy. I was sour. I get there, and I sit down in my seat right before the 5 o'clock news. And as I'm sitting there, I look, and in the door walks this beautiful blonde who I hadn't seen in 277 days. I'd lost track of her. That's when I knew why I was there. And because I'm so outgoing and fast and I move like the speed of light, 6 hours later, I talked to her. I got her number, and 6.5 months later, we were engaged. But anyway, that's why I love November the 6th. Let's stand and let's sing. is the living God. Fall fresh on me. Spirit of the living God. Fall fresh on me. Me, on me, me, me. Spirit of the living God. Fall fresh on me. Let's pray. Heavenly Father, thank you so much for all that you do for each and every one of us. Thank you for these generous men who are helping Manos de Cristo so much. Thank you for their hearts. Thank you for their minds. And thank you for teaching us so much through Mark. We bless everything in your name. Amen. Today we're talking about the entire chapter of Mark 7, and we're talking about food because Jesus and his disciples were eating food, but they were eating it defiled. They were eating it defiled. And the Pharisees saw this because back then they ate after washing, a tradition, and they questioned Jesus. Defiled means to make something or someone unclean, impure, or unholy through physical contact, immoral acts, or sin. So rather than just saying, why are you eating with dirty hands? Defiled is a little bit deeper because of the impure part, the unholy part, the immoral part. And the Pharisees didn't understand, why are y'all eating with dirty hands? This makes no sense. It's defiled. You should not be doing this. So they said, why don't your disciples live according to tradition of the elders instead of eating their food with defiled hands? Well, Jesus, of course, has an answer for everything, and he counters. He calls the Pharisees hypocrites. You're hypocrites. He says, you have let go of the commands of God and are holding on to human traditions. You have let go of the commands of God and are holding on to human traditions. He follows that by saying, you have a fine way of setting aside the commands of God in order to observe your own traditions. He told the crowd, because there was a big crowd, as always there is right now, he tells the crowd, nothing outside a person can defile them by going into them. Rather, it is what comes out of a person that defiles them. Think about that. It's not what comes into you that defiles you. It's what comes out of you that defiles you. That's not the end of the chapter. Later, he goes to a house, and what's he been doing every week, it seems like? He's driving out a demon, drives out a demon out of the body of a little girl. He also heals a deaf and mute man, and he continues to tell people to keep this to themselves. Don't tell anybody. It's almost like a tease, like, shh, don't tell anybody. Go tell, go tell, go tell. He's telling them not to tell, but how can you keep this a secret? All this stuff that he's doing as he's healing people, as he's driving the demons out, people are finding out about it. And one person says, he has done everything well. Jesus has done everything well. But the biggest thing to think about in this chapter, I think, is what he says about it's not what comes into you, it's what comes out of you that defiles them. That's going to be what we're talking about throughout the morning. But here are the first questions that I want you to think about and talk about in your small group. How does understanding that impurity comes from within impact your actions and your thoughts? How does God judge holiness in a person's life? And why did he call them hypocrites? And what do you think about how he handled the situation? We'll talk about that for about 15 minutes, and then I'll be back. Okay, we can resume in just a second, but I want to talk about holding on to human traditions. Again, Jesus says, you have let go of the commands of God and are holding on to human traditions. Are we ever guilty of that? Are there some traditions that we have in our mind or in our daily lives or our weekly lives or our yearly lives? Are there some traditions that should be changed, or are there some traditions that we've got to keep it the same? Think about what we do or what we're involved with. And what does it mean? What are we really doing? Why are we really doing that? I want to tell you a couple of stories about traditions, and don't laugh because some of them are kind of silly, but they're human traditions. The first one has to do with the calendar. First one has to do with the calendar. Most of us, I know not all of us, but most of us work 5-day weeks, Monday through Friday. I know it's sometimes a little bit different. Back in my sportscasting days, sometimes I worked Wednesday through Sunday when I was weekend sports anchor, that type of thing. So it changes, but it's a 5-day week. But did you know that back in the olden days, before all of us were born, it was 6-day work weeks? People worked 6 days a week. And it was actually Henry Ford who came up with the idea of let's have a 5-day, 40-hour work week. He changed the tradition of having a 6-day week. And it sounds very noble, but the reason why he did it was because he wanted his employees to have the weekend off so they could have time to travel. And if they were going to travel, they needed to buy a car. So it was going to help his business. But that human tradition changed because of that. Let's talk baseball. I told you we were going to talk about this for a second. I could tell you lots of traditions about the World Series, but one of them is the rings. You see, that middle ring was the first ever World Series ring in 1922. Back before then, the winning World Series team used to get different things from the team owner, from the team, different types of jewelry or different garments or different things. And in 1922, for whatever reason, the Giants decided, let's get a ring. And you can tell how lovely it is until you compare it to last year's Dodgers ring. And ever since the 70s, the rings have exploded into something that's more than just one little diamond. It's just gigantic. But that's a tradition that started because of one man or one group. Let's do this. And it's continued. Yes, it's evolved, but that's a tradition that started and is going to keep going for eternity. Some traditions are neat, they're fun, they're exciting, but they're not all like that. Let's talk about Wimbledon real quickly. Wimbledon is called a fortnight. It's 2 weeks, 2 weeks of tennis there in England. And for years and years and years and years and years, they had the tradition of the middle Sunday being off, a rest day. I don't know this for certain, but I think it's because it was Sunday. It's to honor God. But in 2022, it changed. They decided to let's start playing on that middle Sunday. And you know why they did it, because that was one day of TV money they were missing. Is that a tradition that should have continued? Is that a tradition that they changed for the right reason? Traditions are there, but sometimes they are changed incorrectly. Sometimes they're there incorrectly. This is a great story that I've heard recently, is that there are lots of traditions about college football games. Lots of traditions that go into college football games. And one lady who was not a college football fan was invited to a University of Georgia home football game. And she goes to the game and she enjoys the game. She doesn't really understand what's going on, but she enjoys the game. And afterwards, she goes with the people she was with to a post-game party. And at this post-game party, as she's standing there and visiting with people at different points, different songs started being sung and different chants started being said, because that's the way most college football teams are. It's kind of like being at a University of Texas post-game party and all of a sudden somebody says, hey, the eyes of Texas, and starts singing, and somebody who's not from Texas going, okay, well, sure. Well, this lady didn't understand at all what was going on, as different chants and different songs were being sung. So, but she felt kind of left out. So out of nowhere, she just started singing the doxology. And everyone joined in. Everyone started singing with her. That wasn't a tradition. She changed the tradition because she knew that's how she could honor God. So again, there are times when there are traditions that need to be changed. There are times when traditions need to be started. There are times when traditions need to be introduced. But how do your traditions that you are involved with, your human traditions, how do they affect your life? How do they affect your relationships with other people, your family, your friends, your coworkers? Are you stuck in a rut of your traditions and you realize looking back, doesn't really honor God? It's not really maybe what I'm supposed to be doing. Last tradition I want to tell you about is me. And that's me in front of the Barnes family Christmas tree. That was probably 1978, maybe 1979. We loved Christmas at the Barnes household and got together probably, my sister and me and my mom and dad. We would get together, the four of us, usually about 3 weeks before Christmas, and put together our artificial Christmas tree because my sister was allergic to real trees. So we had an artificial Christmas tree, and we, as you can see in the background, we had all kinds of ornaments, all kinds of decorations. We put so much on there, and the last thing we would do is we would put tinsel around all the way around, multiple layers, and then the very last thing is we'd get those icicles, and we'd just grab a handful of icicles and just throw them up there. And these icicles would come down out of the sky and just land on the tree. And of course, half of it would land on the carpet. My mom would have to clean it up. But anyway, it'd be on the tree and it'd be beautiful. And to me, that's Christmas. That's what Christmas is all about, is not only putting together the tree, but seeing those icicles and just feeling Jesus there. And that is Christmas. Wow. Then I got married. And when I got married, when Kim and I decorated our first tree in 1992, and we're at the store, and I'm looking at icicles and grabbing icicles, she's like, "Why are you doing that?" I said, "It's icicles on a Christmas tree." "Well, what are you talking about? It's the way it's supposed to be done." Like, no, no. Well, there's our Christmas tree. I think that's from last year. And you see, it's beautiful. It's got beautiful ornaments from stuff our kids have made and things we bought through the years on different trips and things. You don't see a single icicle because I haven't put an icicle on a Christmas tree since before 1992. It's a tradition that I had to accept that no offense to Jesus, but that didn't honor Jesus. It was a tradition that I had accepted was the right thing to do. So I kind of had to make a choice. Do I take a stand like Jesus has against these Pharisees and call Kim a hypocrite and say, "No, honey, we're putting up bicycles. I don't care what goes on, and I wouldn't be married today"? Or do I say, "Okay, let's do it your way"? What type of tradition in your life are you trying to force and make things happen? Does it really honor God? I've known people in the past who every Saturday they play golf. Every Saturday they play golf. And even when their wife, bless you again. And even when their wife didn't want them to, well, that's my tradition. I'm playing golf on Saturday. And their marriage weakened. And their marriage crumbled. Do you have a tradition like that that needs to change because it doesn't honor God and honor your relationship with someone you love? Think about all the things that you have as Thanksgiving comes up. What type of tradition do you have? And is there a tradition that needs to be changed to honor God and to strengthen your relationship with Him and with the people you love? Holding on to human traditions sometimes is great, sometimes is amazing, sometimes can weaken your relationships and weaken your relationship with God. Let's look at these questions. What have you let go of? What do you still hold on to instead of holding on to God's commands? And how can we make sure our hearts are in the right place when we follow traditions? Thank you.